Hello everyone, this is my latest find on Facebook. I found this bike for $40. The seller offered to deliver it. He just dropped it off at the shop. We are gonna do a quick video on this. Gonna take this $40 bike and clean it up and turn it into a nice vintage commuter. Let's get started. Bottom bracket and the headset cleaned up, ready to go. The cassette is pretty dirty, as you can see, but nothing that a little Varsol and a toothbrush can't fix. So we'll get started. So that came out pretty good and ready to be installed. As you can see, the rear hub on this bike is pretty bad. The axle won't turn at all. So we're going to have to open it up, clean everything up, and put some grease in there. Adjust everything and put it back. So that's next. So the front wheel isn't as bad. The axle actually turns, but this one is a bit too free. There feels like there's almost no grease in there. So we'll do the same. We'll open it up, clean everything up, lube everything up, and put it back together. All right, repack the bearings. Axle is nice and smooth. Trued up the wheel. Time to install the cassette. Just a light coat of grease here as usual. And we'll find the widest slot. Put our spacer on. And someone in my last video caught me. I had said that was about 40 pounds, and he called me out on it. He said it was 38 pounds. So now I'm making sure this is torqued up to 40 pounds. Okay, all the parts are cleaned up. Ready to be put back. Got some new brake levers and a shifter, new cables. Frame is there waiting, so let's start the assembly. So I was about to mount these front brakes, but I noticed that the brake pad hardware here has a bit of rust. So I decided to take it off and get rid of that rust. I find little things like that have a big effect on the finished bike. Like this is the kind of rust that's really not going to hurt anything. It's just purely cosmetic, and removing this, the brake pads on a cantilever brake, you're throwing everything out of whack. These brake pads are already kind of mated, if you will, with the rim, and now they're gonna have to be adjusted. But I don't know, I just can't help myself but to want to like take this off and clean it all up. And again, I think it makes a really big difference in the finished product. All these things, I'm pretty sure everybody notices it, and someone will notice the rust here. And but if it's nice and clean, I think it goes a long way in the finished look of the bike. So let's just take this to the wire wheel, and we'll put it back together. So yeah, that literally took like 30 seconds. But as I said, I think it goes a long way. So just like when I take stuff out of evaporust, I like to coat everything in oil, just so it doesn't rust. And we'll put this back together and mount them up. So also here on the brake bosses, a bit of corrosion. And while we have everything out, we want to get rid of that. Just a very fine sandpaper. Do the underside. We'll grease them up and mount the calipers. So I didn't go crazy on these cranks, as this bike is going to be a everyday commuter, grocery getter, something you feel comfortable locking up and leaving outside. So we're not going too fancy with all the polishing and everything else. but for simplicity, can't beat this 1x system. Actually, no, it's got, yeah, this has got 7 gears in the back. Actually, I was surprised to see that it's got a cassette. I thought it'd have a freewheel. So, I don't know, I didn't check into how old this bike is. Doesn't really matter. But, yeah, it's got a modern cassette. So, that's always good for the future, for if anything goes wrong. There are millions of 7-speed cassettes not being used. We'll snug these up. These two keep wanting to turn. My trusty old Campagnolo tool for holding the backs of these chainring bolts, the receiving part. Okay, yeah. Once you get it tightened a little bit, yeah. And then I got to do this one. Okay, we'll get these installed. A little dab of grease on the threads there. Got my little extensions so I can thread this easy. Okay. Gonna make a few changes here at the shop soon. You guys will see. I'm gonna change the whole layout actually, so I can go right around the bike and be comfortable and not have my tools in the background distracting the view of what I'm doing. So it'll be nice and clean in the background, hopefully, and I'll be able to move right around the bike instead of moving the bike around. That's about right. Tighten up the other side. All right. Perfect. Sometimes you'll do the bottom bracket and it'll feel tight enough, but when you put the cranks on and you give it a shake from the end of the crank, you might feel a little looseness, and you got to do it all the way around because these are old bikes and you might not, not everything is perfect and square on that axle. And things may be worn out a little bit. So if you got no play on this side, I always check all the way around that there is no play. And it's just a matter of finding the balance of it being not too tight, as loose as possible, of course, as free as possible. And of course, but first and foremost, not having any play anywhere right around the axle. So this is fine. So just working on the handlebars here, and I wanted to show you guys another example of why I like to clean up bolts. This bolt was, I wish I had a picture of, I wish I took a shot of it before I cleaned it up, but the inside of this bolt was all rusty, and it's something that whoever is going to be riding the bike is going to be looking at it all the time. And I just put it in Evaporust overnight, and it came out like new. So you know, I mean, I could leave it, doesn't hurt anything, but like I said, it's something that's going to be looked at all times, and it doesn't take much effort, but I think it makes a big difference in the finished product. And yeah, that's why I do these little details. So on with the brake levers and the shifter. Yeah, that's next. So if you've watched any of my other videos, you guys will know that I'm not a big fan of riser stems. I think they look horrible on most bikes. But this one kind of grew on me. It's got the Rally logo, so do the handlebars. And it's got the cable stop here. If I were to change the stem, then I'd have to put a cable stop into the steering tube here. So I'm gonna leave it. It kind of looks okay. And what else? We're changing the shifters. This bike came with some really bulky brake levers with integrated shifters that were all gummed up. So putting in a 7-speed index shifter. I'm gonna put on some of these brake levers. Put this. Let's go like this. And we'll get on with the cabling. Okay, so I kind of like to take a grip here like this, just to get a rough idea of where I want the levers. Then I usually do the final adjustment when the bike is on the floor. Just using the original cable housing that came off the bike. Oh. Yeah, I kind of like the way that cable curves when I go to the left side of the down tube. I think that's what I'll do. Most often, it's a pretty tight curve here if I use the right side cable stop with these shifters. So yeah, I'll kind of use the left side cable stop and sort of go across the down tube. Just looks better, I think. Yeah, we'll go with that. I have to trim this cable housing. So doing the brake cable first, so that I can follow the same curve with the shifter cable once I have this installed. I was trying to do both at the same time, but this brake cable housing didn't want to stay put in the brake lever, so we'll install this. That seems a bit long. See if I can pull it from the back a little bit. Yeah, we don't want it longer than that. That's pretty good. Okay, so I have to trim the back a little bit. See how it looks. Yeah, that'll work. A little mark there. We'll put our all-important cable end here. Fish this through. And this time I am, oh, well, that's not going to work, is it? Okay, we have to shorten this straddle cable. Let's go like this. Where's my number 8? Number 8. Huh. Well, a little more maybe. Something like, oh. Okay, we gotta go a little more. And it would help if I tighten this up. Yeah, that'll work. Maybe I'll leave it like this to have more pull on that cable. Okay, there we go. Doesn't want to cooperate. All right. Cantilever brakes, you gotta love them. Okay, that should do it. We'll take up the slack from here. You guys see that? Nope. There we go. Get my needle nose. Okay, let's try that. Okay, pulling too much on one side, but that's an easy fix. Would help if I went the right way. Now it's starting to work. The right side, a little more. I think that's about good. Let's see. Yeah, that's pretty good. All right. It's so easy to get clutter around the shop. I was just looking for a cable and this happened. And I hate working like this. And I usually find myself tidying up as I work, but sometimes you want to get things done. And but anyways, I wanted to put black cable ends, but I'm out of them. So I'm going to go with the blue. Look at that. It's a perfect match. I like my cables nice and short. I don't see any reason to leave them any longer than just about a little less than an inch or so. As long as you have everything adjusted nice, which I do. There we go. Looking good. So this is, let's make sure this is nice and centered. Okay, we'll go ahead with the front brake. Just gonna eyeball it here. A little shorter maybe. Yeah, we can always adjust it later. All right, let's leave that there. Put a little oil in our housing. Oh. I need my 10. Actually, 10s. And maybe my needle nose just in case. Okay, so we'll do this. Actually, I don't like this being right by the fixed cup here. I find sometimes if you're going over bumps, it'll hit it and make a noise. So I'm gonna tighten it up here and then take up the slack from the other side. This doesn't want to tighten up. Nah. I need to put that a bit lower, but I'm actually going to move it higher because I'm going to put a rack here and I don't want that interfering with the rack. So let's go. What a joy, adjusting cantilever brakes, eh? Actually, these are not too bad, as the pads on these are easier to adjust. Okay, let's try it there. Get this tightened up. And we'll take up the slack from here. Tighter. And that should do. Just need to adjust it. Let's grab our 2mm Allen. If I can find it. Where's the adjustments? On the other side. So this side is opening more, so we want to loosen the tension on it so it gets lazier, so to speak. The other side's starting to move already. A little more. There we go. Now they're all even on both sides. Okay, let's trim up the cables. Oh, you guys weren't seeing that, were you? Oh well. Sorry. Brakes are working perfectly even. Okay, we'll trim up the cables. Okay, so I trimmed this shifter cable housing down to size to go along with that, to sort of match the end of the brake cable. I am going to go through the other side so I get a nice smooth bend. I think it makes, oh, let's try from this side. Doesn't want to cooperate. Okay, here we go. When I trim that end, there's always something, isn't there? I don't know why it doesn't want to go through. Let's try again. Really? And I don't think that's not even the side I trimmed. I trimmed this side. I'm pretty sure, yes. And okay, gonna have to sort this out. Okay, we should be good to go. Put a little more oil there. Whatever I put in there, I think drained out already. Let's feed this through. Yep. These braze-ons don't have the slots in them, so you have to feed the cable through. All right. Yeah, that looks good. Come through here. All right, let's install the chain. There we go. Pretty dry, but clean, but dry, but we'll lubricate it once we install it, so it's less messy. A little more. There we go. Find that little drop of oil sort of helps the pin find its way. Gotta go a little more here. Better to do it at a little by little rather than go too far. It's good. Of course, you're gonna have a stiff link here. I think that a little wiggle can't fix. All right. Let's see. The last bike I did shifted perfectly out of the gate, but let's see how this one does. Actually not bad. Just needs I think we need to give it a little tension to be more quick on the upshift. Okay, seems pretty good. straight. Okay, so it's time to put this rack on. This is a rack that I put on most of my bikes. I think it's very useful. It's a cheap rack. It's about $15 on Amazon. I can put a link in the description below. Or AliExpress, it's even cheaper. I think it's about $11 delivered. But anyways, it's right around $15. The reason I like it, because it's nice and clean. It mounts on the brake bosses here. And so it's nice and clean and simple. It's a bit of a pain in the neck to install, like many other racks. That's why I wanted to show you guys here how I do it. And this is a pretty good example because this is about as difficult as you're going to encounter when dealing with a rack that goes on a cantilever brake. Because I'm going to move you guys in here. Because see if I can get that on camera. A lot of times the cantilever brake caliper where the bolt mounts it onto the frame here, this is, you have room here, you don't have this ridge here, it's perfectly flat, and because this mounts with that bolt here on there, and you need a flat surface. But in this case, you'll notice how this bolt sinks in a bit, so there'd be no way to mount this. It's going to hit the caliper. So you need a bit of a spacer here, of course. So what I do in this case, because I've done many of these. So first of all, of course, we have to remove this bolt. And this happens to be a shorter bolt. So, of course, let's see. Okay, there you go. This is a shorter bolt. Sometimes you know, you'll have a much longer bolt here. So if your bolt is short like this, you need a longer bolt for sure. I dropped that one, but it's okay. I'm going to show you guys the one that you need. So you need a longer bolt, of course, because we're going to put a spacer in between here and the rack to bring the rack out so we don't have the clearance issues. So this washer is very important. The washer has to go in first. Otherwise, your caliper is going to bind up. So just like you would need the washer when you're not installing a rack, just with the bolt, that washer has to go in first. And then I'm just going to measure this quickly. I save, because I take a lot of 3x chain rings apart and convert bikes into 1x. I get a lot of these spacers. This one happens to be about 5 mil. Okay, these are chain ring spacers that go in between chain rings and the bolts. So I save these. So basically you need something like this. I don't know if I'm getting that on camera. There you go. So how I install this rack, I'm gonna move the camera back a little bit now that you guys know what I'm talking about. It doesn't have to be so close. You focus in. Okay, so the bolt will go in, the washer will go in first. So what I will do, it's going to be kind of difficult, but let's see. It's difficult as it is. That's why I never filmed this before. Installing this rack. It's a bit fiddly, and it's kind of hard to do it on camera. But I'm going to try my best here. So I will bring the rack in here, and first the washer, and then the spacer, and I'll put the bolt through. Am I getting that? Okay. So first the washer, then the spacer, then I'll put the bolt through, and then I'll go to install this. Okay. So let's go. Okay. First you want to make sure. Okay, there we go. So there we go. So we'll tighten this up. Yeah, racks are a pain in the neck to install. So I'm tightening this up now. There we go. It's nice and tight. And you'll see that there's no binding issues here at all because we put in that little spacer. Okay, and I'll do the same to the other side. And of course, we'll secure it to the fork with this bracket that comes with the rack. Again, this is a rack that can carry 8 to 10 pounds. It's a great little rack. It's not a rack you're gonna go, do heavy bike packing with or anything, but it's the perfect rack for around town. You can attach a basket to it. You can put larger items in there as long as they're not too heavy. But it can take a beating. It can take a pretty good weight. And the good thing about a front-mounted rack, I find, in the city, when you're stopped at a light, you're surrounded with all kinds of people. You got something in a basket here. This way, if it's a front-mounted rack, your eyes are always on it. So nobody's going to grab something that you have in your basket and run. So that's why I like a front rack. I think front racks look better anyways, but I mean, it's a functional thing. It has to function. It has functionality as well, just because of the fact that, you can keep your eyes on your whatever you're carrying. So I'll finish installing this up and I'll cut back in with the finished bike. Also, I forgot one thing. Also wanted to show you guys that this rack has adjustability this way. And once you have it nice and adjusted and how you want it, I usually do it, perfectly horizontal to the top tube, in the same angle. If it's a sloping top tube, I'll probably slope this in the same angle so it looks proportional. And then you can just adjust it like this and adjust this bracket up and down to tighten it down at that angle that you want. So that's another good feature of this rack. Again, it's a great little rack, and for the money, you can't go wrong. So that's it for this one. We started with a $40 bike that most people would have probably thrown out and ended up with a pretty cool and usable bike. It's good for commuting, riding around town, or whatever. And it's a bike that you're not afraid to lock up and leave somewhere. This bike is all about the fact that you don't need to spend a lot of money to build something fun and functional. If you enjoyed this build, please make sure you hit the like button, leave a comment, and subscribe for more. If you want a sneak peek at my next build, check out my Instagram, as I always put a preview there. And as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in about a week with the next build.